So right here behind our house, we have a nice big plum tree. So I'm gonna go over here and it's not my tree, it's our neighbors, but they don't really trim it. It's just kind of a wild tree. So I'm gonna get some plums. Right now they're kind of naturally falling off the tree, but I think I'm gonna give it a little shake. See if I can get some more. So when you're making umeshu, what you want to use for sugar is rock sugar. And of course here in Japanese stores they have plenty of this. Different types of rock sugar. Let's see which one's cheapest. This rock sugar, 1 kilo. Okay. I'm gonna get 2 kilos. I'm gonna get 2 kilos. So I think I'm gonna make a couple jars of this anyways. Rock sugar. Rock sugar.
Here you can see we have all the liquors that are being used along with the rock sugar and the container. We opted to buy this one right here.
Welcome back to our channel, Our Japan Life. My name is Thomas.
This is Raquel.
And we're going to show you how to make authentic Japanese plum wine or plum liqueur known as umeshu. Now umeshu, when you translate it directly into English, it comes out as plum wine. But really the way in which they make this beverage is not a traditional fermentation process with sugar and yeast creating alcohol through an actual ferment. So it's more of a plum liqueur, because what you do is you take the unripe plums, Japanese plums, which are called ume, and you steep them for up to 6 months to up to a year in Japanese liquor or soju, which is about 35% alcohol. And then you let them just sit and you let them age, and through that process with some rock sugar, it extracts all the flavor out of the plums, leaving you with this beautiful semi-sweet liqueur. We're going to show you exactly the ratio in which is recommended in the traditional way to do it.
Yes.
We're lucky to have a plum tree.
Right behind our house.
Right behind the
Big
house
one.
here, a big Japanese plum tree. And the plums are mostly green still. Sometimes when they fall and hit the floor, they turn a little bit, tiny bit yellow. But what you want for the plum wine is mostly green plums, the unripe plums. The reason being is while they're in the jar, they do mature and they do sweeten, but you want the unripe plums to give the liquor more acid, more tartness. Yes, so the approximate ratio to pull this off in the correct manner is about 1 kilo of unripe plums, known as ume, anywhere from 200 to 400 grams of rock sugar. Rock sugar, like big rocks of sugar. You can find this in most Japanese grocery stores. If you can't find it back in the United States and you're trying to pull this off, you can probably order it on Amazon with rock sugar. They come in like 1 kilo bags. And then you want a Japanese soju. Here they sell actual this is a bag, but they sell the actual 35% Japanese soju. That is an unflavored liquor. If you can't find that, of course, back home you could use vodka, or you could use Everclear, but you'd have to obviously dilute it quite a bit, or you can try to find some Korean or Japanese soju. Anyways, let's get started. So the first things first, you want an airtight jar. This is relatively easy to find here in Japan. These red ones with the tops on them like this are actually specifically made for doing Japanese plum liquor. But if you don't have one of these, of course, you can use any big pickle jar or anything that will seal tight, because you want it to be sealed.
I'm sure Walmart or Target or any of the major stores in the United States will have something comparable.
All right. Raquel, go ahead and measure out for us the sugar, the rock sugar. Let's do 300, we'll make it medium sweet. So anywhere from 200 to 300 grams.
There's 2, 3,
Keep going, try to get it up to the exact number if we can.
We're going.
All right, right there.
All right.
That's 311. We'll just keep it right at 3. There you go. 301.
Okay.
That's just fine. What you want to do is you want to take the plums and you want to add some of them to the jar. Just a few. And as I mentioned, this is 1 kilo of plums. Prior to doing this, actually, we took out the little stems in the top. So one of the things you want to do when you're doing this is you want to take out any of the stems. Simply just get in there with the knife. You can pop out that stem like that. Get rid of it. Those stems will cause your umeshu to be a little bit bitter, so you want to get rid of all the stems. And then after that, we rinse them off. Rinse the thumbs. Get off any dirt and grime that might have been accumulating. Okay, so at first you layer in about 10, 15 plums in the bottom there, and then you want to take some of the sugar and you want to sprinkle it in.
What layers?
You want to layer the sugar. Put a few more in there.
Your creative juices, the creative side of making it.
Put a few more in there, and layer it in. Now the reason why you want to layer the rock sugar in there is that when it's steeping over time, the sugar starts to slowly dissolve, and when that action of dissolving actually helps to extract flavor out of the plums. That is why you don't use granular sugar, you use the rock sugar, but it slowly extracts. All right, once you got it all layered in there all fine like that,
Nice.
as you can see, you take the liquor, and the amount of liquor you want for this ratio, meaning 1 kilogram of ume, about 200 to 400 grams of rock sugar, you want 1.8 liters. So each one of these bags here has 900 milliliters in it, so it's a total of 1.8 liters.
I will say too that these kinds of bags here in Japan, they actually do have the recipes on the back, depending on what kind of fruit you want to use.
Absolutely. And we'll show you that recipe
At the end.
Pour it on in there. This is probably the easiest liqueur you could possibly make. It's just basically pour 3 things in a big jar and then just leave it. Now they recommend at a bare minimum that you wait at least 3 months for this extraction to happen. What they say is if you have the patience to wait up to a year, about a year in is when it gets at its very best point. I'll probably try a little bit around 3 months and then try a tiny little bit around 6 months and just kind of see how it develops. I'm gonna make a few of these and put them in our wine cellar and just have them in a nice cool environment to slowly
I think anybody can
ferment
do
and
this.
extract. Anyone can do this.
This is easy.
1 kilogram of green plums or ume, 200 to 400 grams of rock sugar, and 1.8 liters of soshu liquor. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. So here's the plum wines. This one I did yesterday, and this one I did today. The one I did yesterday has a few more of the ripe ones in it, so this one should come out a little bit fruitier. Whereas this one's mostly green one, so this one should be just a little bit tart. I wanted to do kind of like 2 batches, and then I put the date on the top, so I know exactly how long they've been in here extracting.